Hi dear students, welcome to your History and Civics online classes, and I hope that you and your family members are safe and keeping fine there at home. Today onwards we are going to start our online classes. We already started our classes, the regular classes, and due to the pandemic and the COVID, again we start with our online classes. And this year, Sandham School will provide you two options. You can either learn or attend the class through the recorded video uploaded on YouTube, or you can attend the class live on Teams app, the Microsoft Teams app. So two options are there, and you make use of this opportunity. And don't use these opportunities for learning some other things or doing some other things or watching some other things, but you must learn something, because this year you have got the board exam, so you must be very careful and study the things very properly. So use these gadgets, mobiles or laptops or online learning only for your learning purpose, or only for your study purpose. And our first unit test is over, and I hope that the unit test was very easy for you. And before the test we covered 8 chapters from History and Civics, and now we will continue our chapter discussion. And first we will start with the Civics part, section 8, Civics. And in Civics I think we have covered already 4 chapters and third chapter that is remaining there. So today we will start with the chapter 3, Civics, the Union Executive, the Prime Minister, the Cabinet and the Council of Ministries. So here we will mainly focus on the Union Executive, Prime Minister and the Council of Ministries. And in Union Executive, the President and the Vice President, we mainly discussed about the role of President and the Vice President and their election. This chapter we will learn about Prime Minister and his role and his powers and the Council of Ministries. Take page number 31, the first paragraph. And according to our constitution, Indian constitution, we follow a parliamentary or a cabinet system of government. That means a government headed by Prime Minister, and there are cabinet ministers or the Council of Ministers, and this Council of Ministers are headed by Prime Minister. In such a kind of system, the President, he is only a nominal power. For name's sake, he is having the power. Otherwise, he is not having any real power. And here, who is having the real power? It is the Prime Minister. He is the real head and he is having the real power, and because of that, he is known as the pillar of the cabinet. So, in a parliamentary or a cabinet system of government, the Prime Minister is having the ultimate power or the real power, and the President acts as a nominal head. And then the next topic, appointment of the Prime Minister. How the Prime Ministers and the other ministers are appointed. So the Prime Minister is appointed by President, and how it is done or when it is done, after the general election. And in the first chapter, the Union Legislature, we had learned about the general election. Every 5 years there is a general election. So after the general election, the leader of the political party which gets majority there in Lok Sabha, he is appointed as the Prime Minister of India by the President. So the party which gets majority there in Lok Sabha after the general election, that will be the ruling party, and the leader of that party will be appointed as the Prime Minister by the President. So total number of the Lok Sabha members we know, 552 members are there. Out of that, the majority which party gets, that party will be the ruling party, and the leader of that party will be the Prime Minister. And then after that, what happens? On the advice of the Prime Minister, the President appoints other ministries. So on the advice of Prime Minister, the President appoints other ministries, and there are some, that is the normal situation, but there are some other situation in which no party gets majority there in Lok Sabha. Then what the President will do? President can appoint any person as the Prime Minister, but there is a condition. And what is the condition? Within 6 months, the appointed person, he must secure a seat in Parliament, either in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, whenever there is no majority for any party. Now we will see the position, powers and functions of the Prime Minister. The powers of the Prime Minister may be discussed under the following heads. And in connection with the President, the Cabinet, we can identify the powers of the Prime Minister that we will discuss one by one. The first one, Prime Minister and the President. The powers of the Prime Minister in relation with the President. Prime Minister acts as the link between Cabinet and President. Okay, the Cabinet Ministry or the Council of Ministers, they cannot convey the decision they have taken directly to the President, but it is through Prime Minister the decisions of the Cabinet is conveyed to President. Then the second one is that on the advice of the Prime Minister, the President summons and prorogues the Parliament. Okay, here the President calls the Parliament or dismisses the Parliament on the advice of Prime Minister and dissolves the Lok Sabha. Okay, on the advice of Prime Minister, the President dissolves the Lok Sabha. The third point is that on the advice of the Prime Minister, the judges of the Supreme Court, the governors and the ambassadors are appointed. So again, we can see that it is on the advice of Prime Minister, the government dignitaries are appointed. Then the fourth one, if a minister takes a decision on certain matter, but the decision is not considered by the Council of Ministers, the President may instruct the Prime Minister to submit the matter for the consideration of the Council. So the minister, one minister from the Council of Ministers, he is having a particular opinion about a particular topic, and the other ministers disagree, then the President can ask the Prime Minister to put forward that matter in front of the Council. Then the second topic it is Prime Minister and the Cabinet. The powers of the Prime Minister in relation with the Cabinet. The first one, formation of the Cabinet. There is no special rule. Okay, according to the Constitution, there is no special rule for the selection of the ministers, and there is no special rule for the appointment of the minister. So it is the duty of the Prime Minister to select a minister. So on the advice of the Prime Minister, the President appoints the ministers. Then the second one, leader of the Cabinet. The Prime Minister is the leader of the Cabinet. If he resigns, the entire ministry has to resign. Removal of the ministers. If the Prime Minister is not satisfied with the performance of some ministers, then he can give some kind of advice to the President, and that minister can be removed from that post. The next point, chairman of the Cabinet. The Prime Minister is the ex officio chairman of the Cabinet, presides over the meeting of the Cabinet. So it is Prime Minister who presides over the meetings of Cabinet, and he is the ex officio chairman of the Cabinet. And he decides the agendas to be discussed at the Cabinet meetings, the topics that must be discussed there in the Cabinet meetings. It is decided by the Prime Minister. It is decided by the Prime Minister, and at such meetings he first listens to the opinions of others, and finally he tells about his own views, and this only will be regarded as the final decisions of the Cabinet. In such kind of meetings, the Prime Minister allows other ministers to share their views, and their Prime Minister listens to the opinions of other ministers, but at the end, the word of the Prime Minister is considered. So the views of the Prime Minister will be regarded as the final decisions of the Cabinet. Even if other ministers present something, at the end only the word or the view of the Prime Minister will be considered. Then coordinates and directs the policy. The Prime Minister coordinates the working of various departments and link between the Cabinet and the President that we have seen. And the next point related to the powers of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister inside the Parliament. The position and the power of the Prime Minister inside the Parliament. First one, the leader of the Lok Sabha. The Prime Minister is the leader of the majority party in Parliament. Therefore, he is the leader of the Lok Sabha. And second one, spokesman of the government. He makes all important announcements of national policies in the Lok Sabha. He is the defender of the government in the Parliament. So here he speaks about the policies of the government. Third one, advises the President. regarding summoning and prorogation of the House. On the advice of the Prime Minister, the President summons and prorogues the Parliament and dissolves the Lok Sabha. That also we had seen earlier. So here it is on the advice of the Prime Minister, the President summons or calls the Parliament or prorogues, means dismiss the Parliament, and he can dissolve. Okay, the President can dissolve the Lok Sabha on the advice of Prime Minister. The next point it is rescues the ministers from the unpleasant situation. If a minister's work is severely criticized by the opposition, the Prime Minister saves him from this awkward situation. And whenever the policies of a particular ministry is criticized by the opposition, then the Prime Minister saves that minister. Controls the situation at times of controversy. There are certain controversial issues like price rise, center-state relations, over which the members become agitated. Such unruly situations are pacified with the intervention of the Prime Minister. So whenever some controversial issues are there, some problems are there, that is mainly solved by Prime Minister. And the next point related to the powers and positions of the Prime Minister. Prime Minister as the leader of the nation. Some points are given. The Prime Minister is the leader of the nation. The entire nation expects leadership from him. The nation gives special importance to the views and opinions of the Prime Minister on every subject. During the Lok Sabha election, by and large the voters cast their vote for or against the Prime Minister. Then, even though the Prime Minister is having so much powers, sometimes the powers of the Prime Ministers are restricted. And how the powers of the Prime Ministers are restricted, that we will discuss in the next topic. Restrictions on the authority of the Prime Minister. First one, opposition is always there to criticize the Prime Minister. As you know, the parliamentary system of government in India, there is a ruling party and there is a opposition and there is an opposition party. And whenever the Prime Minister or the ruling party put forward something, then there is an opposition to criticize the negative or the drawbacks of such kind of policies. Then the second one, the press and media is another effective check on the powers of the Prime Minister. Whenever the government or the ruling party is going against the will of the people or the welfare of the people, then press and media is there to criticize the ruling party or the Prime Minister. Third one, when a coalition government is formed, the Prime Minister has to satisfy the leaders of the various political parties. What do you understand by coalition government? Coalition government means whenever in a situation in which no party wins majority, but 2 or 3 parties together, they form the government. Just like for an example in Maharashtra, we have got a coalition government. Shiva Sena, NCP and Congress together form the government. In such a kind of government system, then the Prime Minister has to please all the party members. Then the fourth one, the Prime Minister has to ensure the cooperation and the support of all the members of his party, and he should get the support from his own party members too. Otherwise, there will be problem inside his party. And now we will see the next topic, that is composition of the Council of Ministries, and there only we will see about the formation of the Council of Ministries. The first paragraph, appointment of ministers, that we saw. The Prime Minister is appointed by President after the general election, and the Prime Minister is the leader of the party which gets majority there in the Lok Sabha election, and on the advice of the Prime Minister, the President appoints other ministers, and when there is no majority there in the Lok Sabha, then what happens? The President can appoint someone as the Prime Minister, but that person must get a seat either in Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha within 6 months. And one more point we can notice here, that a non-member also can become a minister, but there is a condition that he should get a seat or secure a seat either in Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha. Now the oath of secrecy. The ministers before entering upon their office take oath of secrecy in front of the President. He has to swear that he will never reveal to anyone any matter which will be brought under his consideration as a minister. So he takes an oath. Before taking his duty, he has to take an oath in front of the president, and in that oath he must say that, or he must swear that he will never reveal to anyone any matter which will be brought under his consideration as a minister. Now we will see about the categories of ministers or the formation of council of ministers. There are three types of ministers. The first one, cabinet minister. Second one, ministers of state. And the third one, deputy ministers. And among these three categories, the cabinet ministers are the most powerful ministers. The first one, cabinet ministers. They are the senior most ministers. They hold major portfolios like railway, finance, aviation, defense, etc. They formulate the policies of the government. They attend the cabinet meetings. So they are the most powerful ministers. And then the second type, that is the ministers of state. They are junior in status to the cabinet ministers but senior to the deputy ministers. So in that hierarchy, the second position it is for the ministers of the state, and the first position that is for the cabinet ministers. And these ministers of the state, they may or may not independently hold any portfolio. And it is not sure that they will get a portfolio like the cabinet ministers. They may or may not get a portfolio. They do not attend the cabinet meetings, but they may be invited to attend such meetings when matters concerning their departments are being considered. Normally the cabinet meetings are attended by the cabinet ministers, but sometimes the ministers of the state also invited to attend the cabinet meetings whenever the matter is related to their department. And the third category, that is the deputy ministers. They are the junior most ministers. They never hold any portfolio. They do not have any portfolio at all. They never attend the cabinet meetings. They are to assist the senior ministers. The duty of the deputy ministers is to just assist the senior ministers like the cabinet ministers and the ministers of state. So there are three types of ministers: cabinet ministers, ministers of the state, deputy ministers. And now we will see the term of office of the ministers. According to the constitution, the ministers hold their office during the pleasure of the president. That term you must remember, and whenever the term of the ministry is asked, you must write that word. According to the constitution, the ministers hold their office during the pleasure of the president. In reality, the ministers are collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha. Therefore, they will hold their office as long as they enjoy the confidence of the majority in the Lok Sabha. Whenever they are having the majority or the confidence in Lok Sabha, they can hold their ministry, and once they lose the majority there in the Lok Sabha, then they have to resign. When the Prime Minister is not happy with any minister, he will make that minister resign through the President. So whenever the Prime Minister is not happy with the performance of a particular minister, then the Prime Minister can make that minister to resign through President. So that is the end of today's class. I hope that you understood this part. And here we mainly discussed about the powers of Prime Minister in relation with the President, Cabinet as a person, leader inside the Parliament, and the restrictions on the powers of the Prime Minister. Then we saw the appointment of the Prime Minister, appointment of the ministers, and the formation of ministers. Then finally we found the term of ministers. Hope that the things that we discussed is clear to you. And if there is any doubt, you can contact me, and you may try to attend the live classes too. Thank you. Have a nice day.